Hello, class. Welcome to the terrorism course for this term, Justice 429. As I posted on the announcement yesterday on Sunday, hopefully you've had an opportunity to read that. I'm excited to have this opportunity to work with each of you this term. I always enjoy working with the students, and I think as you've probably read through my announcements and the information I learned from each one of you. This certainly is not a one-sided class. I'm here to be your mentor, so to speak, to help you get through the class, but it's not one-sided. I also learn from each of you. So if you have information you'd like to share about your personal or professional experiences or observations, please feel free to do that. It makes the class much more interesting. Um, so please do that. Again, I think we're going to have a great term. We always have good classes. Looking over the icebreaker announcements, which hopefully everyone has completed. I'm excited to be with y'all guys. As I mentioned, I think we have a very good class, a broad background, everything from police officers to ex-military to some people that's retired in current military. So should be a good class. So let's take a moment to get started. What I try to do each module and sometimes in between is I try to do an introduction to the module by video as much as possible, and then do a recap of last week's module as well. And since this is our first module, we're just getting kicked off there with the class. I thought it'd be a good time, a good opportunity to go ahead and kick the class off, so y'all guys are used to the videos, and hopefully we'll dedicate some time each week to review these. Now, we also have live sessions occasionally throughout the course. What I like to do is at week 2 or 3, I like to try to get together in a live session, Adobe Connect or another method there, and just get together and learn more about each other. And really the purpose of that is not only just to get together and learn more about each other, to answer any questions that you may have about the class, and also to discuss the final. And I know your time is very limited. I try to keep these to just a handful of minutes so that they don't take up a lot of your time. They're not required by any means, but hopefully they will help you throughout the class. So let's go ahead and get cranked up. Remember, if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. I will do everything that I can to help you. And as I mentioned before, if it's 2 and South Korea and it's 1 a.m. Here where I'm at, we'll get to, and you need to meet with me. Just let's try to set that up as early as possible. Give me a little bit of advance notice if at all possible, and I'll try to get up and meet with you. If not, then just call me, Skype me, whatever the case may be. We'll work together to help you through the class. So assignment 1, module 1, this module will identify various definitions of terror and terrorism. Consideration is also given to the purpose of terrorism and some of the intended outcomes. Primarily, what we'd like for you to do is focus on the justifications used by terrorist organizations to organize and conduct attacks on civilian populations. We'll have a real good discussion of that. And then we really have 3 objectives this week. Identify and discuss modern definitions of terrorism, identify several typologies of terrorism, and examine the factors that motivate terrorist organization. Our assignment this week includes completing the icebreaker, 2 discussions, and your first short paper. If you've not completed the icebreaker, it is simply a way for you to share some information about who you are, why you decided to complete the class, etc., some of your goals. It's pretty much an introduction. If we were in a classroom setting, it would be just like us going around the room and introducing ourselves. So basically is what the icebreaker discussion is. So please feel free to share as much information as you would like, such as where you live, where you work, some of your career goals, and goes for the course, etc. I'd also like for you to post questions if you have those. Our first discussion this week: why is terrorism so difficult to define? And responding to the other postings, the other students post, potentially suggest a possible typology and address how applying a typology to your classmates' definition might further clarify or enhance the one that you develop. It's important to note that you'll learn some new definitions in the class, as you normally do with college classes. Typology, in this case, is a classification system of a type of something, such as a car, a boat, etc. And so, in this case, we will sort of type the terrorist organizations in the terrorist, if you will, into different classifications. Typology is discussed in Module 1, throughout Module 1, as well as in the textbook. Okay, and I've also included a link, which is more of a 1 or 2 page summary to give you a little more information about typology. If you have time, please consider taking a look at that. It may save you some time as you go along throughout the course. 2 discussions. Again, we do have 2 discussions in Module 1. We will have that in most modules, but not always. Module 2, Correction Discussion 2, provide a rationale for your perspective that addresses the factors that motivate terrorist organizations. And responding to other postings, suggest a possible scenario which might contradict the rationale that's given. What conclusions would you draw from this contradiction? So what we're going to do is we'll just address those different factors. Many of us have opinions about what motivates a terrorist organization, the people within that organization, why did they make the decision to join? Why are they actively involved in terrorism or terrorist organization? And it is important to keep in mind there's a difference between terrorist organization and being a terrorist or carrying out terrorism, I should say. Just because you're a member of something doesn't make you necessarily guilty. You haven't necessarily carried out an act of terrorism because you are a terrorist or a member of a terrorist organization. Obviously, there's a potential. If you're a member, you're likely going to take action or do something there with that organization to commit an act of terrorism, and we will see that throughout the course. And you will also see, as we look at the rationale, what motivates people to join, what motivates those organizations. Sometimes I'd like for you to think outside the box on that, which is a term that I probably use too much, and consider the reasons. The thing about terrorists, people that join those organizations, there's a bit of a misnomer in that everyone believes that they are not educated and they are poor people. Yep, that's the case, and many times, probably a large percentage. But if you really research the terrorist organizations and the membership, you will find all walks of life: doctors, attorneys, scientists, etc., that have joined these organizations. So just think about what motivates them and what's their rationale for joining. Now, you're not all going to have the same opinion, which is really what I'd like for you to do, is not have the same opinion. Don't look at someone else's post and copy and paste that just because they have an opinion. Share your opinion. It may be wildly different to the left or the right from someone else, but I'd encourage you to be different. It's okay to be different in our class. There's no this is not a cookie cutter class. Be different. It's great to be different. It's great to have opposing opinions, and in discussing those is what we're going to do there in the class. So we have a short paper assignment this week. Watch the viewpoint video, Thinking Like a Terrorist, from the Center of Homeland Security and Defense, and then you're going to develop a 1 or 2 page response to that video addressing whether or not you agree with Mike German's position regarding policing considerations for the investigative and prosecution of terror suspects. You can discuss that, and you can share why or why not you agree or disagree. And again, I'd love to see those opposing viewpoints of those different. We all have different worldviews, and share your beliefs as to why you think Mr. German is correct or he's not correct. If there's something that we are missing there, share the points that we are missing in the videos, and we'll all discuss it. Okay. And then support your position with appropriate evidence. I've shared some important information there about what appropriate evidence is. I'll give you some examples about APA. Again, as I mentioned, I'd like for you to use the APA and get used to using that. That's the style that we use in the class. As much as possible. Oftentimes you may not be familiar with APA or any other method or style of writing, and that's okay. I just want you to practice as much as possible and follow my examples. What really ends up happening is on that final assignment, if you don't throughout the class, if you don't use my examples on that final assignment, that's when I really deduct points. Otherwise, I just want you to build up to that and practice on getting better. And I'm sure each one of you do that. I've never had a class that's not. So what is terrorism? Keep in mind about the root word of terror. Really, it's to scare. It's to instill fear and make us think about, being harmed, if you will, whether that's attacking us physically, our country, our economy, etc. And so sometimes we often overlook what that root word is, and these groups really just want to scare us and put fear into us. It's not always about carrying out an attack for the sake of killing people. It's often just to scare us, and they've been very successful in doing that over the years. Okay, so just try to keep that in mind. And as I mentioned earlier, there's a difference between being a terrorist or a member of an organization and committing an act of terrorism. Okay, so those are different things, and just keep in mind they are connected, but it's something to think about. So how can we better understand this? Again, I don't want to create confusion, don't want to take up a lot of your time. I just want to give you a short overview. The best way to get through each one of these modules is really to read the material. Okay, dedicate a lot of time. I know many of you are busy. You're assigned to different things throughout the day. You have families, etc. And I understand that. I'm an adult student. I really do understand that. But you have to dedicate some time to the class. Read the chapters in the textbooks. They really do give you a really good background of what we're discussing. Read the module overview and look over the information in the module resources. A lot of information, a lot of videos. But if you take 30 minutes, a good hour to read these, jot some notes down for those discussions and those papers, you're going to be fine. I'd also ask that you pay close attention to the grading rubrics, because that's how I grade each one of your assignments directly from the rubric. So you know exactly how I'm going to be grading you, what I'm going to be looking for. Okay, so I've also included some information. How do I get an A for this assignment and any other assignment? And again, that's review the material, review the grading rubric, develop an in-depth, informative, extended initial discussion using the rubric, reply to 2 or more students. And guys, don't do a short reply, please. I mean, if you're gonna do it, take time to develop a really good reply. Am I looking for an entire half page or 42 paragraphs of a reply? No. Not doing that, but be a direct, informative, and really offer a good reply. Remember, you have to reply to a minimum of 2 students. I'd like to see more, and I'm going to challenge you that. You'll see me throughout the different modules, the discussions, posing extra questions. Not required for you to reply to them by any means, but I think it will help you as we go along. So again, try to create those really good initial discussions and those really good replies to 2 or more students. Okay. Feel free to ask any questions. You can pose those to me, send them to me in the email, or we have the general discussion, general questions there in the discussion board. Post those. If you have a question, it's likely that another student will have those as well. So what can I do to make your journey easier at SNHU? Feel free to send me an email, send me a text, just let me know. I will do everything that I possibly can to help you with every module, every assignment that we possibly can. I think module 1 is really a good kickoff here. Gives you a real good basis about terrorism, terrorist organizations, some of the actions, the civilian targets, why they are targeted, and as I mentioned a while ago, the psychological distress that's associated with that sometimes. So, again, I think we've got a really good background here. I want to point out too before we go, the three distinct phases of terrorism. It's important to make sure that you're familiar with those. The first phase involved the anti-colonial violence. Okay, so keep in mind that that was back in the day, if you will, anti-colonial violence against those people that were trying to colonize and continue to colonize. The second phase focused primarily on the revolutionary ideology and nationalistic terrorism. We had the Civil War. Some people could call that an act of terrorism, although that may be pushing the definition way far. What do you think? Feel free to share your idea. Okay. And then, of course, we saw that as well between 1960 and 1985. It's kind of the broad area. Okay. We were real nationalistic during that time. And then today we have the third trend of terrorism, which emerged after that. It's where we have this fundamentally religious organizations, these groups that sway people to join. So those are just three distinct phases. Again, take a look at each one of these and think about those different acts. We're going to visit again as we go through. I'll put together another video discussing some of the things that we talk about in this module, but I wanted to just really get us kicked off this morning and get opening part of the video, opening part of the module. So I look forward to working with you. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Let's have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.